Howdy out there, everyone. Today we're going to take a quick look at this 1973 film, Soylent Green, directed by Richard Fleischer, I believe, and of course starring the inimitable Charlton Heston, Anne Lee Taylor-Young, among others. And of course, the movie itself is an interesting piece of science fiction that is anchored in some pretty prescient and rather intelligent sort of assumptions about the direction humanity is going in. The film was it was set in 2022, so of course a year ago, and was of course released in the early 70's. And what the writers predicted was that by the year 2022, the Earth would be completely overpopulated. All the natural resources would be basically harvested to the point of collapse, and society was just sort of barely holding on thanks to a few large corporations, one of which was Soylent, that apparently made much of the food that people ate, because you could no longer get fresh fruits and vegetables and meat and dairy products. You just ate these little wafers, and of course Soylent Green was their latest product, ostensibly or supposedly made out of ocean plankton. And it's basically sort of a murder mystery about one of the board members on the company, Soylent, who is murdered at the beginning of the film. And it becomes clear that he either knew something he shouldn't have known, or discovered something and really almost expected it. So it's an interesting sort of way to set up the film, and I think on balance it works quite well. Now, is there a high degree of misogyny? Yes, it's definitely a byproduct of the era, not condoning it by any stretch. It's uncomfortable to watch at times. The women are all, at least the ones that are in the film, most of them are what they call furniture, which are basically prostitutes that come with the flats that people rent. And so it's certainly not a very charitable movie toward women, and has a lot of the hallmarks of that era in terms of how we viewed women. So not surprising, but still not pleasant to watch. But I think if you can look past that, you can see a pretty smart piece of science fiction that I think has some very interesting things to say about where humanity is going, especially when it comes to its voracious appetite for natural resources and its inability to come up with more efficient closed-loop systems, which of course, ironically, they kind of do come up with a way to sort of close the loop on food processing. But I won't spoil it. I think most of my viewers probably already know the ending of this film. It's part of the zeitgeist. And I find it interesting as well that the band Green Day took its name from this film, because in the movie there's a public service announcement from, I believe, the company or the government, telling everyone, now remember, Tuesday is Soylent Green Day. So I had not made that connection until only recently, when I looked up some of the trivia of the film. But I would definitely recommend the movie. I think it sits alongside others of its ilk, like Boy and His Dog with Don Johnson. And it's an interesting piece of 70s sci-fi cinema. Another one I can think of is Logan's Run. And certainly all of those types of films that came out of that era, all have some warts. The special effects are usually pretty bad. Now, interestingly enough, I think that's one area where this movie has aged well, because it doesn't try to create a very futuristic looking environment. If anything, it's sort of like society has gone backwards, and so the movie isn't going to wow you with sort of futuristic set pieces or anything of the sort. It's an interesting decision that I think has made the film age better than many others of that era. So definitely give it a watch. I think you'll like it. It's not a great movie, but I think it's a solid piece of science fiction that I would argue is something that maybe should be remade if they do it well and they keep close to the main principles of the film and the message that it carries, and eschew big blockbuster like special effects. I think that they could improve upon this story quite easily with the right screenwriter and director. So I don't know. We'll see if that ever happens. But until the next time, whenever it shall be, please do stay safe out there, everyone. Be kind. And by all means, keep watching good cinema.